Chosen ones, there's a legal case forming in the invisible realm that's about to manifest in physical courts. Right now, while you're absorbing these words, spiritual attorneys are building a case file with your name on it. Divine justice doesn't operate on human timelines, but when it moves with the full weight of earthly law behind it. Someone took what belongs to you, not just your ideas or your energy, but actual value that translated into their wealth while you struggled. They built their castle with bricks stolen from your foundation. They wrote their success story with ink drained from your pen. They created stability and abundance using what was cosmically assigned to your bloodline. This will go to court. They will have to pay back a life-changing amount of money, not a symbolic gesture, not a small settlement that barely covers your pain. We're talking about the kind of sum that erases years of financial struggle in a single transfer. The kind of number that makes you check your account 3 times because it doesn't seem real. The scales of justice aren't just balancing, they're tipping heavy in your favor. Think of it like this. Someone has been living in your mansion, sleeping in your bed, eating from your table, while you've been outside wondering why you can't find shelter. The eviction notice has been served, and they're about to pay rent for every single day they occupied what was yours. You know that feeling you've been carrying, that sense that something was taken from you that you couldn't quite name. You weren't imagining it. You've been going through a purging season, and you probably thought it was just about your health, or your habits, or your healing journey. You've been working on yourself, trying to eat better, trying to move your body differently, trying to clean up your mental space. And yes, that's part of it. But there's a reason the universe has been pushing you into this detoxification process. You needed to become unrecognizable to the energy that's been feeding off you. You needed to shed the version of yourself that was accessible to people who had no right to your essence. Let me tell you what's really been happening while you were focused on your transformation. Someone close to your circle, or someone who had access to your energy, your creativity, your unique frequency, has been using it. They've been presenting themselves in ways that mirror you. They've been taking your ideas, your healing methods, your way of soothing others, your creative expressions, and they've been profiting massively. This isn't about inspiration. This is about theft. This is about someone who saw your light, and instead of cultivating their own, they decided to wear yours like a costume. They built stability on your foundation. They created wealth from your wisdom, and for a time it worked for them. But here's what they didn't understand. When you steal from a chosen one, you're not just stealing from a person, you're stealing from destiny itself. You're interrupting a divine plan, and the universe doesn't let that slide. Not forever, not even for a little while longer. The clock has run out. You're going to receive communication soon. It might come through official channels. It might arrive in a way that initially confuses you, because at first you might even think you're the one being questioned. You might receive something that makes you wonder if you did something wrong. Don't panic. This is part of the revelation process. What looks like an accusation is actually the beginning of your vindication. The system needs to investigate, and when they investigate, they're going to find out who really did what. They're going to trace everything back to its source, and the source is going to lead them to someone who thought they were untouchable. Here's where it gets interesting. This person held some kind of position, some kind of status. They appeared trustworthy. They appeared successful. They appeared like someone who had earned what they had. But underneath it all, they were operating a sophisticated con. They were building their house with your bricks. They were writing their story with your ink. They were selling your medicine under their label. The universe has been watching. Spirit has been taking notes. And now the scales must balance. You're going to be called to speak your truth. You're going to need to defend yourself against implications that aren't true. You're going to have to stand firm in what you know, while people around you might not understand the full picture yet. This is where your detox matters. This is why you had to cleanse yourself of people-pleasing energy. This is why you had to stop trying to project a perfect image. This is why you had to become so authentically yourself that no one could confuse you with an imposter. Because now you're going to need that authenticity as your anchor. You're going to need to know who you are so clearly that no false accusation can shake you. There's going to be a journey here. Not a quick resolution, not a fast settlement. Court cases take time. Legal processes unfold slowly, but every step forward is a step toward justice. Every document reviewed is another piece of evidence that builds your case. Every witness statement is another confirmation of what you already knew in your spirit. This person took from you. This person operated in your energy field without permission. This person generated income, stability, and status from what was yours by divine right, and they're going to have to pay it back. All of it. With the kind of sum that changes everything. Think about what that means. Not just a small settlement that covers damages, not just a symbolic victory, an amount that shifts your entire financial foundation, an amount that gives you the resources to build what you were always meant to build, an amount that compensates not just for what was taken, but for the time you spent struggling because what was yours was in someone else's hands, the years you went without because someone else was living off your overflow, the opportunities you missed because your energy was being drained by someone operating as your doppelganger. This is why you've been feeling that strange pull to keep certain things to yourself lately. That instinct to be quiet about your insights. That urge to write things down privately instead of sharing everything publicly. That's your spirit preparing you for what's coming. When you receive the message about this situation, you're going to need to move with wisdom. You're going to need to keep the details close, not because you're hiding, but because you're protecting the process. Some battles are won in silence. Some victories require discretion. This is one of those times. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. Someone mature is going to help you navigate this. Someone who understands the system. Someone who knows how to work within legal frameworks. Someone who might surprise you because they seem younger in spirit than their years would suggest. Or perhaps they're younger than you but carry old soul wisdom. Either way, they're going to be an ally. They're going to help you see the path through what might initially seem like a maze. They're going to help you understand your rights and your options. Listen to them. Trust them. They're being sent as part of your divine support team. There's something about written communication in all of this. Documents, records, proof. This person copied your writing. They plagiarized your healing protocols. They used your methods in a book or a program or a platform without credit. They even used AI technology to replicate your voice, your face, your likeness in ways you never authorized. Whatever they did, it left a trail, and that trail is about to be followed all the way back to them. You might be thinking about all the times you felt like you weren't enough, all the times you compared yourself to people who seemed to have it all together, all the times you wondered why your breakthrough was taking so long. Now you're going to understand. It wasn't that you weren't ready. It wasn't that you weren't worthy. It was that what was meant for you was being delayed because someone else was illegally occupying your blessing. They were squatting in your promised land. They were harvesting crops from seeds you planted, and now they're being evicted, not quietly, not peacefully, through the full force of divine justice backed by earthly law. Let's talk about what really happened here. Someone entered your life who seemed like a friend, someone you thought you could trust, someone who presented themselves as supportive, as aligned, as genuinely interested in your well-being. But they were studying you. They were taking notes. They were gathering intel. Every conversation was research. Every vulnerable moment you shared was data collection. Every time you explained your process or shared your methods or opened up about your journey, they were filing it away for their own use. You thought you were building connection. They were conducting espionage. And then they left. But that departure wasn't the end of their involvement with you. It was actually when their real operation began. Because once they had what they needed from you, once they extracted your essence, once they collected enough of your energy signature, they went off and started building. They launched their platform. They created their brand. They established their reputation. And it all looked remarkably similar to what you do. Because it was what you do, just repackaged, just rebranded, just presented as if they invented it. You saw it happening, and you questioned yourself. You wondered if you were being paranoid. You told yourself that maybe it was just coincidence. You convinced yourself that maybe you were being too sensitive. But your body knew. Your stomach turned every time you saw their work. Your chest tightened every time someone praised them for something that sounded exactly like your words. Your spirit recoiled every time they gained recognition for methods you developed. That wasn't jealousy. That was knowing. That wasn't bitterness. That was truth trying to break through your denial. And the worst part was watching them prosper while you struggled, watching them gain the opportunities that should have been yours, watching them receive the abundance that was meant for your household, watching them build the life you were supposed to be living, all while you were trying to figure out why nothing was working for you, all while you were wondering why doors kept closing, all while you were questioning if you even had what it takes. You do have what it takes. You always did. Your gifts were just being used by someone else who knew how valuable they were, even if you didn't fully recognize it yet. This is going to feel surreal when it unfolds. You're going to have moments where you can't believe this is actually happening. You're going to have days where you wonder if you're dreaming. You're going to look at the numbers and think there must be a mistake. There's no mistake. This is the universe correcting an imbalance. This is source energy restoring what was disrupted. This is your ancestors and your guides and the divine intelligence that governs all things, saying enough is enough. But here's what you need to understand about receiving this kind of blessing. It's not just about the money. It's about what the money represents. It's about you finally having the resources to stop operating from survival mode. It's about you being able to invest in your health without stress. It's about you being able to create without worrying about keeping a roof over your head. It's about you having the financial foundation to build the life you were always meant to live, the life that matches your purpose, the life that reflects your value, the life that creates space for your gifts to flourish. And this is why the detox has been so important, because when sudden wealth comes to someone who hasn't done their inner work, it disappears just as fast. When money flows to someone who's still operating from lack consciousness, they unconsciously repel it. When resources arrive before someone has healed their relationship with receiving, they sabotage their own abundance. But you've been doing the work. You've been confronting your scarcity mindset. You've been challenging your belief that you don't deserve good things. You've been questioning every pattern that kept you small. You've been cleansing yourself of the poverty consciousness that was never even yours to begin with. So when this money comes, you're going to be ready for it. You're going to know how to hold it. You're going to understand how to steward it. You're going to recognize it as a tool for your purpose, not just a prize for your pain. You're going to use it to create the stability you were denied. You're going to invest it in ways that multiply blessing. You're going to share it with wisdom and build with strategy. You're going to prove that you were always meant to be the one with the resources. Some of you are going to use this money to get the medical care you've been putting off. Some of you have been living with physical issues that you couldn't afford to address properly. Some of you have been managing pain or illness or imbalance because treatment was too expensive or too time-consuming or too far out of reach. This settlement is going to change that. You're going to be able to take care of your body the way it deserves. You're going to be able to invest in your health without guilt. You're going to be able to prioritize your well-being without fear, and your body is going to respond. Your healing is going to accelerate. Your vitality is going to return. Because the stress of financial struggle has been suppressing your immune system, draining your energy, keeping you in survival mode. When that pressure lifts, everything shifts. Here's something else you need to understand about this situation. The way you heal is unique. The way you soothe others is unlike anyone else. There's something specific about your method, your approach, your energy that creates transformation. And that's exactly what they stole. They didn't just take your ideas, they took your essence. They took the very thing that makes you irreplaceable. They watched how you brought comfort to people. They studied how you created safe spaces. They analyzed your process and then replicated it as if it were their own discovery. But here's what they couldn't replicate: the genuine heart behind it, the authentic intention, the real love that flows through your work. They could copy the formula, but they couldn't copy the spirit. And people felt that. People sensed something was off, even if they couldn't articulate it. This is why some of you have been feeling blocked creatively. This is why some of you have hesitated to share your gifts publicly. This is why some of you have held back from fully stepping into your healing work or your creative expression. On a soul level, you knew something was compromised. You knew your energy was being siphoned. You knew there was interference in your flow, so you pulled back. You went quiet. You retreated into yourself, and everyone around you probably thought you were procrastinating, or afraid, or lacking confidence, but you were actually protecting what was left. You were guarding your remaining essence. You were keeping your pearls away from those who would misuse them. That instinct was correct. That withdrawal was wisdom. That silence was strategy. And now that this situation is coming to light, now that this theft is being exposed, now that justice is being served, you're going to feel that creative flow return. You're going to feel that healing gift amplify. You're going to feel that unique magic come back online at full capacity. Because what was being drained is now being sealed. What was being stolen is now being protected. What was being misused is now being restored to its rightful owner. Others of you are going to use this money to finally start the business you've been dreaming about, the creative project that's been waiting, the healing practice you were meant to establish, the platform you were meant to build. You've had the vision for years, you've had the plan forming in your spirit, but you haven't had the capital, you haven't had the cushion, you haven't had the security to take the leap. Now you will. Now you're going to be able to step into your calling without the fear of failure hanging over your head. Now you're going to be able to create from abundance instead of desperation. Now you're going to be able to build something that actually reflects your gifts instead of just paying bills. And some of you are going to use this money to change your living situation. You're going to move. You're going to relocate. You're going to find yourself in a home that actually feels like sanctuary instead of just shelter. You've been living in spaces that drain you, environments that don't match your energy, locations that keep you stuck in old patterns. This money is going to give you the freedom to choose differently, to live somewhere that supports your growth, to create a home base that fuels your purpose, to surround yourself with beauty and peace and space to breathe. But let me be clear about something. This process is going to test you. It's going to require you to stand in your truth even when people question it. It's going to demand that you speak up even when it would be easier to stay quiet. It's going to ask you to defend yourself against false narratives even when you're tired of explaining. This is part of the initiation. This is part of the chosen one journey. You don't get to walk into your destiny without proving you can handle the pressure. You don't get to receive life-changing abundance without demonstrating that you won't crumble under scrutiny. You don't get to step into your power without showing that you can stand alone if necessary. There are going to be people who don't believe you. There are going to be people who side with the thief because the thief is more visible, more established, more convincing in their presentation. There are going to be people who question why you're making such a big deal out of this. There are going to be people who suggest you should just let it go, move on, take a smaller settlement, settle out of court, avoid the drama. Don't listen to them. Those voices are not your guides. Those opinions are not your compass. Those suggestions are not aligned with your highest good. You're being asked to persevere, to keep going even when the process feels slow, to stay committed even when you can't see the finish line, to trust even when the evidence isn't fully visible yet. Because on the other side of this persistence is your breakthrough. On the other side of this legal journey is your financial liberation. On the other side of this confrontation is your complete vindication. Now let me put you onto something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation, and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition, and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play, and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your destiny engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. And here's what's going to make this even more powerful. The person who stole from you is going to be exposed publicly. Their reputation is going to suffer. Their platform is going to crumble. Their false success is going to be revealed for what it really was. Not because you're seeking revenge, not because you're trying to destroy them, but because truth has a way of coming to light. Because deception can only last so long before it collapses under its own weight. Because the universe has a justice system that operates beyond human courts, and when both systems align, the results are undeniable. You're going to watch them lose what they built on your foundation. You're going to see their empire fall because it was never theirs to begin with. You're going to witness the reversal in real time, and it's going to confirm everything you felt but couldn't prove. It's going to validate every intuitive hit you had about this person. It's going to justify every moment you questioned their authenticity. You weren't being paranoid. You weren't being jealous. You weren't being bitter. You were picking up on the truth before it was obvious. This is why you had to learn to trust yourself. This is why you had to develop your discernment. This is why you had to stop second-guessing your inner knowing, because your spirit was trying to show you what your eyes couldn't see yet. Your intuition was warning you about energy theft before you had language for it. Your soul was protecting you from deeper entanglement with someone who was only there to extract from you. Some of you cut this person off already. You removed them from your circle. You stopped engaging with them. You might have even done energetic cord-cutting work. You might have had a confrontation where you spoke your truth and walked away. Good. That was preparation for this moment. That was you setting the boundary that the universe is now enforcing with legal weight. That was you saying no in the spiritual realm before the physical realm caught up. You were ahead of the curve. You were moving with divine timing even if it felt painful at the time. Others of you are still connected to this person in some way. Maybe you still see them in your community. Maybe you share mutual friends. Maybe you've been trying to keep the peace. That's about to get complicated. Because when this legal situation unfolds, neutrality won't be an option for the people around you. They're going to have to choose sides. They're going to have to decide who they believe, and some of them are going to disappoint you. Some of them are going to choose the person with more visible power. Some of them are going to stay silent when you need them to speak up. Let them reveal themselves. Let them show you who they really are. Because after this is over, you're going to need to know who actually had your back. You're going to need to rebuild with people who proved their loyalty. But don't focus on who you're losing. Focus on who's coming. Focus on the new connections that are going to emerge because of your elevated position. Focus on the relationships that are going to form because you're finally operating at your true frequency. Focus on the community that's going to gather around you when you're no longer dimming your light to make others comfortable. You're about to enter a completely different social sphere. You're about to attract completely different energy. You're about to experience what it's like when people recognize your true value instead of trying to steal it. Now let's talk about what you need to do while this is unfolding. First, document everything. Write down your memories. Record your insights. Save your evidence. Whether it's old messages, timestamps on creative work, witnesses to conversations, whatever you have that proves your case, gather it, organize it, protect it. You're going to need it. The more thorough you are now, the stronger your position later. Don't assume that truth will automatically prevail without your participation. You have to bring the receipts. You have to build the case. You have to show up prepared. Second, get the right support. This isn't something you handle alone. You need people who understand the legal system. You need advisors who can help you navigate the process. You need emotional support from people who believe you. You need spiritual protection from the attacks that might come. Because when you challenge someone's false empire, they're going to fight back. They're going to try to discredit you. They're going to attempt to paint you as the villain. They're going to use whatever tactics they can to protect what they stole. Don't be surprised by this. Be prepared for it. Surround yourself with people who can help you stay grounded while you weather the storm. Third, maintain your integrity. Don't stoop to their level. Don't engage in public mudslinging. Don't try to destroy their reputation through gossip or social media campaigns. Let the legal system do what it's designed to do. Let the evidence speak for itself. Let your character be your defense. You don't need to convince everyone. You don't need to win the court of public opinion. You need to win the actual court case. And you will, because you have truth on your side, because you have evidence on your side, because you have divine justice on your side. Fourth, prepare yourself mentally and emotionally for the timeline. This isn't going to resolve overnight. Legal processes move slowly. There are going to be delays. There are going to be frustrating moments. There are going to be times when you wonder if it's worth it. Stay the course. Every step forward is progress. Every piece of evidence examined is movement toward resolution. Every day that passes is a day closer to your breakthrough. The length of the journey doesn't diminish the value of the destination. Actually, it increases it, because you're going to appreciate this victory so much more, knowing what it took to achieve it. Fifth, start envisioning what you're going to do with the money. Not from a place of greed or materialism, from a place of stewardship, from a place of purpose. Start thinking about how you're going to use these resources to build the life you were meant to live. How are you going to invest in your health? How are you going to support your creative work? How are you going to create stability for yourself and your loved ones? How are you going to give back? How are you going to pay forward the blessings you're about to receive? Get clear on this now, because when the money comes, you want to have a plan. You want to know exactly what you're doing with it. You want to be ready to move with wisdom and strategy. Sixth, keep doing the inner work. Keep detoxing old patterns. Keep releasing limiting beliefs. Keep healing your relationship with money. Keep addressing your scarcity mindset. Keep working on your self-worth, because all of that is preparing you to receive what's coming. All of that is building your capacity to hold the blessing. All of that is expanding your container so you don't leak the abundance that's about to flow. This isn't just about winning a court case. This is about becoming the version of yourself who was always meant to have these resources. This is about stepping into the identity of someone who deserves financial freedom. This is about embodying the energy of abundance so completely that no one can ever take it from you again. And finally, trust the timing. Trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust that delays are protection. Trust that the waiting is preparation. Trust that the universe knows what it's doing. Trust that your breakthrough is coming. Trust that justice will prevail. Trust that you're going to receive what you're owed. Trust that your life is about to change in ways you can't even imagine yet. Trust that you were chosen for this journey for a reason. Trust that you have what it takes to see it through to completion. Because you do. You absolutely do. You wouldn't be listening to these words right now if you weren't meant to receive this message. You wouldn't have recognized yourself in this story if it wasn't your story. You wouldn't feel the resonance in your spirit if this wasn't your moment. This is confirmation of what you already knew. This is validation of what you already felt. This is the sign you were waiting for. This is the encouragement you needed to keep going. This is the reminder that you're not crazy. You're not dramatic. You're not making something out of nothing. You're a chosen one who's been living through a divine setup that's about to become a divine comeback. The courtroom is already in session. The evidence is being examined. The witnesses are being called. The verdict is being prepared. And on the other side of this process is your complete restoration, your full vindication, your total liberation, your life-changing settlement, your financial breakthrough, your new beginning. Everything you lost is being returned with interest. Everything that was stolen is being restored with multiplication. Everything that was taken is being given back with compound blessings. You're not just getting back what was yours, you're getting back more than what was yours, because that's how divine justice works. It doesn't just balance the scales, it tips them in your favor. It doesn't just restore what was lost, it adds abundance on top. It doesn't just right the wrong, it creates overflow from the correction. So get ready, prepare your heart, Prepare your mind, prepare your spirit, prepare your life. Something massive is shifting, something powerful is moving, something divine is manifesting, and you're at the center of it all, not as a victim, not as someone things happen to, but as a chosen one, as someone destiny flows through, as someone the universe moves mountains for, as someone who was always meant to win. This court case is just the beginning. This settlement is just the start. This breakthrough is just the first wave. Because once you receive this blessing, once you step into this new level, once you claim this victory, you're going to unlock things you didn't even know were waiting for you. Doors are going to open. Opportunities are going to appear. Connections are going to form. Ideas are going to download. Resources are going to multiply. And you're going to look back on this moment as the turning point. The moment everything changed. The moment you went from surviving to thriving. The moment you stepped into your true power. The moment you claimed what was always yours. They will have to pay back life-changing amounts of money, and you will finally live the life you were chosen to live.